The words which are appearing in the topic today, any guesses from where I picked these words? Will and way. Anybody like to make a guess from where these words are picked as a topic today? Okay. I think SKY sir mentioned. We might have heard the famous proverb, right? Where there is a will, there is a way. This proverb used to be there around historically for a longer period, which is quoted in many occasions in our lifetime. In many occasions, like wherever the people are getting some kind of downwards feeling or some kind of interruption or challenge. So people used to quote this proverb, right? So this is like a motivating proverb which will give some kind of energy to us to move forward in our life. Where there is a will, there is a way. So this denotes that when the will is strongly determined by oneself on his objective or a goal, or even satisfying a small wish. Once the will is determined strongly, whatever be the difficulties faced in fulfilling it, that will be overcome, and there will be a new way found to get it satisfied. So that is what this proverb is meaning. This was originally first used by a poet who has lived in the year 1600. So in that range of period, in one of the poem, he used these words, which became like a famous proverb. Initially, it was like in a different words he utilized in the poem, originally in that year. Later on, people made this as a proverb with these proper wordings. If you see the practicality of this applicable in our human life, we can quote several examples, or we can see several practical examples around us, or through the news channels, or through the articles, or the official situations. We might have seen many of the people, right, who has utilized this practically, or being this as a live example for this proverb also. So from that manner, we can say that it is practically true, and it worked in many of the people's life, right? So just before going further on this topic, just to share a small story, which you might have heard, which could be a classic example for this proverb also. Even though we might have seen some practical examples, you will be able to visualize. But this story may clearly exhibit the inner meaning of this proverb. So I just thought of sharing this story before we move forward further. Long back in China, there was a comb seller who became very old. He established his business very well, and now he is in older age. So he's looking for handing over his business to some suitable person who can take further and maintain it properly. So on that point of view, he called all three of his sons, and he gave them a task. He just mentioned that there is a Buddhist monastery, which is nearby. And each one of them should go on one day to that monastery and try to sell the comb to the people there. So this is the task given to them. And he said that whoever is selling more number of combs, and that person will be selected to manage his business. This is the task he gave. And the sons, they have to go on one after another on a single day. This was the task given to them. And the first son went in and he did his best. As we all know, before going in, they all had a confusion because the Buddhist monks who are in that monasteries, they're all bald and they will not be using the combs at all. So how to sell a comb in that monastery? That was a huge challenge in front of them. With that, since the task is given to them, so they started taking up the challenge. And the first son went in on one day and he came back. Then the second day, the second son has gone. He did his best and he has come back. And the third son went on the third day also. So once all of them finished their task, they came back to that old man. So he was just asking their experience, how it went. And he was asking the first one who went on the first day, what he did and what was his experience. Then he said that it is very difficult because no one in that monastery, they are interested on using comb or buying the comb. So with great difficulty, he was talking to many people and at last he could sell 2 combs. That's what he said. So that also he said he convinced one of the monks that for scratching the head, because there is some slight itchiness on his head. So for scratching the head, these combs could be utilized. So on that way of convincing, he could sell 2 combs. That's what his experience he shared. Then the old man asked the second one how his experience went, what was his result of on the task. Then the second one said he could sell 10 combs. That is the best he could do on the whole day. That also after prolonged discussion, convincing with many people, so with all this. So he asked, how he could do that. Then he said that many of the visitors who are coming to the monastery from faraway place, they need some kind of refreshed manner, right, before coming to the monastery. So they need to use comb, since all the monks in the monastery, they are not using comb. So the visitors are struggling. So we need to have some arrangement. So that has to be there. On that basis, he convinced some of the administrative team. And he said that they agreed to buy 10 combs for the visitors' use. This is what his experience. Then they all turned to the third one to hear his experience. And he said that I got an order of 1,000 combs from that monastery, and this will be keep coming on continuous basis. This is what he said. So including the father, all the other 2 sons all got surprised to hear this. And they all asked him how it went and what was his experience, what he did to manage this kind of huge number of order, what he did. Then he said that he talked to the monastery monks, telling them that spreading Buddhism is the main objective. You are all doing a great job in doing that, but we need to do some kind of gifts or some kind of memory which need to be shared with the people who are visiting the monastery, right? So on that way, he just convinced them, telling that whoever is visiting monastery, so when we give a memorial gift to them, which they can carry with them, and that has to be utilized on daily basis, and that should be helping and spreading the Buddhism also. So what he did on one of the comb, he printed some principles of Buddhism, and he showed that as a sample to the team. So on this way, if you are sharing this as a gift to the visitors, so they will carry that with them, and they'll be using it on daily basis, and they will be memorizing this and thinking about you all every day. So that will be spreading the objective of this monastery also faster. This is what he told, and they got convinced, and they ordered, because the visitors will be more to the monastery on daily basis, right? So they ordered 1,000 number of combs with different messages to be printed on the comb, and that will be continuing. So this is what the third son was sharing. So by this story, we will be able to visualize the proverb or the inner meaning of the proverb clearly, right? So even though the situation is very difficult and challenging one to be managed by any person, so everyone has put their own thought force and their own efforts in completing the task. And whoever has put more effort or more energy or more interest on succeeding it, they won that, right? So this, by this story itself, we can understand the inner meaning. When there is a will, there is a way. So when the determination is stronger, so we will be able to achieve all our wishes, goals, or objectives in our life. So let us think about how this proverb works in our human life. So when the word will stands here for the willpower, right? So the willpower has to be more and more. So the willpower is coming from the mind, basically, right? So when we talk about willpower increase or willpower is more, it doesn't mean any kind of physical strength. It is a kind of inner strength which is achieved through our mind, by strengthening our mind. So that is the way this proverb is working in our human life also. When the willpower is increased more, so the energy level on executing or making the decisions will be more by us. So whatever the task given or whatever the goal set by us, we will be able to visualize and analyze it properly and make a proper decision on the right time and in right way that will be executed also. So that is the way the proverb itself is working within us. So basically, we can conclude or we can try to understand that the mind is the base for this proverb, right? So any person can utilize the mind to have success in his life. Whatever the goals or challenge or task given in the life, that can be achieved and that can be overcome by using the mind properly. When the mind is determined, everything else will work well for us, and there is automatic changes happening around us, because once the determination is stronger and the visualization will be proper, and more we have the willpower, we will be able to change things around us so that we will be able to move towards the success in our life. So that basis, the will is the key, and mind is the base playground. Our mind is a base ground for achieving that also. So now seeing about the proverb and applicability in human life, we talked about the positive side so far, right? So let us think about the practical things in our life also, not only in our personal life, It could be like in our family or in our circle, wherever we come across, either it is official or in the social manner, right? Friends or colleagues. So when we compare with others, how this is working in our practical life, this proverbs applicability. So we said that, yeah, willpower, if it is more, we'll be able to achieve. And willpower can be increased by proper determination through the mind is done. So these all are done by many of us. Or either we take as one example, like one of the member in our family or in our official circle. So keep that as an example and try to visualize that. Even though they have a clear determination and clear, strong mind and all this, wish is clear and will is made, willpower is increased, but they couldn't see the success, right? We will be able to visualize any other example, right? So let us think and analyze for a while why that is happening also. Because this proverb, as I was telling, it is a historically more than like thousands of years, it's being taught among human beings. And it was practically working with many of them. And we can see that how it is working and we could understand how it is working also. But current life, when we compare, we could see the other side also. Like to give some practical examples, yeah. So most of the parents wanted their children to be the school topper, right? That is the way society is visualizing today. And many of our colleagues, you can see, irrespective of this their experience, irrespective of their capability, many of them are looking for their next promotion. And also, if you see in a social level, like sports event, even a small country is willing to succeed a big champion countries on a big sporting event. So that is the way the society is made, and due to the competitive way of the current life, so everyone is trying to win the race, and we are seeing the other way. So whatever we talked so far, that proverb is not working in many of the current people's life. So why it is so? So on that thought only, I was just trying to share more points to today's thought session. Yeah, the basic reason for that, being the mind, which is the base for everything to work, we didn't have proper understanding on that. So due to the fast nature or competitive nature of life, people missed that knowledge in their way of life, and they started misusing its capability also. First, we all should understand the strength and power of the mind, which is a very valuable, high-powered system which is working within every one of us. So we don't have clear understanding on that, and we are not clear how to handle it. So this is the basic problem which created all these kind of negative situation in our day-to-day life. So all kind of problems which are being faced by many of the human being around us in this world today is because of this reason one. So what is the solution now? How can we understand? And it is not only like day-to-day small problems we are seeing today because of this lack of knowledge on mind. We started getting a lot of new kind of disorders also, right? It starts from like mental fatigue, mental uh, confusion, and it is going to some kind of extreme level of some disorders. Like many terminologies are brought in by the medical society today, and they used to categorize many kind of mental stress related disorders in human life. So it is going to that extreme because of this lack of knowledge on mind only. So what is the solution? So that is what when we are thinking in that manner. So our system, our guru, when we come about talking about Vedatriyam, we will be able to get all those answers which we are looking for. So basically, we all know that, right? The SKY practices, simplified Kundalini Yoga practices, all the practices are designed based on mind. Mind is the base element or base playground which is utilized uh, to develop, and all the practices are designed to do that only as an objective. When we talk in Tamil, it will be clearly explaining by that word itself, like mana valakkale. So manam means that mind. So the mind is being nourished more and more by all the practices, whatever we do, even including the physical exercises, are helping uh, to have some kind of nourishment to our mind. Because today, because of physical health itself, we got a lot of mental stress, right? A small kind of ailment which is limiting our movement or which is limiting our ability to do some things is becoming a mental stress for us. So because of that, we are getting some kind of additional mental disorders also. So that is also being cured by doing the regular exercises. So in that way, I feel the physical exercises also helping to achieve some kind of nourishment to the mind. And of course, the next two valuable practices which are taught in our simplified Kundalini Yoga, which is meditation and introspection, those two are completely addressing all the needs for that mind. So the mind is completely refined and refreshed and strengthened. All these kind of nourishments are being given to the mind by all these practices. And as we know, the meditation, when we say meditation, it is not like a single way of meditation. Yeah, of course, different systems are teaching on different manner. There are many kind of meditations around in our society. But when we talk in our system, so the meditations are designed and given in a staged manner, right? So we will be learning a first stage meditation. The reasons and explanations are clearly told to us, which is matching with the scientific facts which are around us. So we will be able to realize completely why we are learning it and what we are learning and how we can utilize that. So every stage of that meditation is clearly explained to us, and why we are learning in that stage manner is also explained, so that we will be able to achieve that kind of mental frequency by each meditation and each stage. And we will be able to get some kind of willpower increased because of that lowered mind frequency. And also some kind of special meditations also added and taught in our practices, which will be helping us to manage some kind of external energy sources also, not only within our body. So we will be able to get some kind of energies from external resources also, like the nature which is around us, the 5 elements and 9 planets, and also some kind of specific meditation techniques which are working only on the 5 sensual organs, which have got the uncomparable skills, each one of them. So that ability is enhanced by doing that meditation. So as we know, there are 9 different meditations are being taught, which are addressing in a different way to enhance our mind. And once the mind is strengthened and determined, anything could be achieved. That's what we are seeing through the proverb also, which we saw initially, right? So when the strengthened mind is available to execute the things, so the decision making has to be proper. So the right decisions have to be made in achieving the right things and right results, which should be beneficial to not only to us, to this entire human society, right? So that is the objective, right? So we are all living in this world as a society. So it has to be like a mutual beneficial to self as well as to the society. And we are all bound to do some kind of dues which need to be paid back to the society also. So on that objective, we need to make right decisions with the strengthened mind. So that is the reason the introspection practices are introduced after a certain stage of learning the meditations also. So these introspection practices, whoever learned and experienced will be able to realize that how much it is helpful in nourishing our mind, right? So all kind of practical situations, whether it is being in the family or in the official life, wherever we come across in this society, we will be able to utilize those techniques to have the inner peace at the stable level. So that is the main objective of this introspection. So we will be able to strengthen our positive qualities and remove the negative qualities and replace them with the positive qualities. All this could be achieved by the introspection practice, which is also given through our system again in staged manner. So both of these main practices, meditation and introspection, both of these are supporting in achieving a prosperous and wealthy mind, which will be having full kind of strength and lowered frequency, and they will be able to through that kind of mindset, we will be able to achieve anything in our life. So that is the stage we will be able to reach by learning and doing these practices on a regular basis. So as I was telling, the practical issues which are being faced by the society today, the competitiveness, which is the main factor driving the people, having the differentiation between them, right, as a group or as a nation, it is like in a different level or organization or group or nation. On some basis, the groups are formed by having the differences between them. So the competitiveness is increasing. So that creates some kind of negativity between the people. So to avoid that also, all these kind of practices which need to be reaching to every one of the human being in this world. Because in the end state, when we talk about the entire world has to be peaceful, it cannot be achieved without being every individual in this world in a peaceful state. So everyone has to realize this state and should have a nourished mind and enhanced mindset to achieve the positive things in his life. So that has to be expanded gradually to a family level and society level and nation level and the world level. So that is the reason our practice could be the proper solution for all kind of troubles, problems being faced by the human population today. So this will be like a kind of recall to all of us how our practices are helping to us and why it has to be spread to everyone in this world. So on that point of view, I thought of emphasizing our understanding on this so that we will be able to do the practices with more understanding and visualization, as well as we should be able to work on spreading our system to be utilized by everyone in this world also. With that message, I thought of sharing another valuable poem, which is written by our guru, which is matching for today's topic. So the relevant education, this is the one of the important requirement in current social state. So that is the reason I thought of quoting this poem, which is apt for today's discussion. The education that is relevant for this, the age of science, is the knowledge that pleasure and pain have their source in the logic of the cause and effect system. So the law of nature has to be understood properly, and why the pleasure and pain cycle is happening in our life. So the cause and effect and law of nature, the logic of functioning of the law of nature, all these have to be understood in this age of science. So that kind of knowledge is required through the education for everyone. That's what the first four lines are denoting to us. Ignorance signifies speeding, that is unmindful of consequence, and only when that demoniac haste is geared by knowledge real would wisdom start working, bringing balance in its wake. So when we have some kind of unwanted qualities like the ignorance or the lack of knowledge in understanding all the law of nature and cause and effect principle. So our inner ego will increase, and we will be able to having some kind of negative consequence in our life. So due to the animal qualities which are embedded in our genetic center due to the prolonged way of human beings evaluation. So that is driving to the negative side, right? So we should utilize our enhanced wisdom by proper thinking and analyzing. So when the wisdom is winning that negative quality, so we will be able to balance, and then we will be able to move forward towards success. So Manish is concluding with this last few sentences. Friends, it is easy to attain to this state, which means it is easy to live in happiness. So when we say that this knowledge or wisdom could be enhanced by proper thinking and by doing some special kind of practices, so when we can reach to that state, which is seen as practically possible, right? So when that is achievable, then we all could be able to live happily ever after. That is what he's telling. So that kind of everlasting happiness can be easily seen in our life if we are reaching to that state. So reaching to that state is practically possible by following the systematic education which is being taught by our system. So that is what this poem is telling us. So by going through this, we are getting a lot of additional confidence compared to that proverb, right? The proverb is telling initially, if there is a will, there is a way. And we saw that it is working well, but many of the people are not having that as a positive result in their life also in current world. So when we are adding this kind of education as an additional strength to the human life, so we will be definitely able to achieve by doing this practically and systematically in our life. And we all could see not only in our life, when we are reaching to others also, they will be able to realize through this practice the results of that proverb in their life. So with that message, I will be concluding today's thought session. I hope the message is conveyed properly and it was beneficial to all of you. Like I felt